second speaker said that our first speaker claimed that all overseas imams are knowledgeable. And this is clearly not what the first speaker said. The first speaker said that most overseas imams have more knowledge than imams that are from here because they have gone to Islamic schools that are there and have learned a lot. Also, the second speaker said that overseas imams are not familiar with Western society because 63% of imams come from rural areas. If 63% of imams come from rural areas, would you ban every single one of them and replace them with imams from the local place? This is something very hard to do, and this is something very extreme. I am very strongly against this. Also, he said that after 9/11, the government has become suspicious of overseas imams because they might think that they are from terrorist groups like Al-Qaeda. I would also like to refute this. Just because the government suspects that the imam is from overseas doesn't give you the right to ban them. Why would you ban an imam because the government suspects them if they're teaching the Islamic society very well and are doing their job in spreading the message of Islam? Yes, I accept.
But I mean, not necessarily. They can't always spread it because of their lack of communication with the public.
Not all overseas imams have a lack of communication. That one overseas imam that did not speak English and spoke only Arabic is not a case that you see every day. Like usually, imams have learned some English from the country they have come from because English is the world language that is there today. And also, overseas imams that have just come in right now are more likely to have that problem. The majority of imams in America are overseas imams and do speak English. Like most of them do speak English and can communicate because they have experience here in America and have experience with the accents. Also, the second speaker said that when you bring an imam from overseas, they can't communicate with the general public. Why wouldn't they be able to communicate with the general public? They have ways of communication. Even if they can't speak English, they can still lead the prayers and they can still lead whatever language the people that speak that language have. Yes,
Wait, you said that, but I mean, as I said before, it's not always the case that the imam knows how to. I understand the fact that you said that some people know, but some others that they don't know how to speak English and they have very strong accent that they can't give effective da'wah.
But what if they know Islam better than the people here in America? They can still teach here. And also, just because some imams can't speak English, would you ban every single one of them? I would like to reinforce my team. The first speaker said that there is no discrimination in Islam, so we cannot discriminate against all the overseas imams that are here in America. I very strongly agree with this. Also, the second speaker said that you should only choose the best quality imams, and that they are chosen by how they can talk and interact with the community. I also very strongly agree with this. Our second speaker said that 97% of Muslims in America are from overseas. So it will be very hard to ban all overseas imams and get away with that. I would like to conclude saying that I very strongly disagree with banning overseas imams, and that this is a very unheedly action, and that this would cause serious problems.
My name is Mafiq and I'm from Team ICA, and we are debating the fact that overseas imams should not be allowed in the United States. Okay, I would like to begin by refuting what my opponents have said. Okay, they said that that the imams can communicate with the community by leading prayers. However, that's not really, and only talking to those that know their language. However, that's not really communicating. We said that they communicate with the general public. That's not the general public. That's only that specific group that can speak their language. And also, my opponents have said that some imams speak English, and they said that the imams are not a burden. But what some imams and like most imams that come from overseas have no one that they know that lives here, and they don't know anyone. And so that's a burden for our community, because the community has to provide food for them, and rent for them, and
But what if they can teach Islam better? And you're saying that they do know English, but they can't. They don't know the community. But what if they can teach Islam better? You can do a much better job than any other imam in that community. Would you still ban them then?
Okay, even though they can teach Islam better, that's all in vain, because they can't communicate and teach them if they don't know the language. I mean, it's good that they know a lot of knowledge and stuff, but if they can't talk and can't tell everyone else the knowledge, then it's all in vain. I mean, there's no point. Okay, so I'd like to repeat what
like when you said that they can't communicate with the community, all communities are multicultural, so most likely you're going to find somebody else that can speak the same language that can help spread what the imam is trying to say. So in that way you can communicate with the community.
Okay, that may be true, but still, that's only them. And what if the people that they're trying to get their information to don't know perfect English? So we don't know about that. So so the rest of my team, the first few speakers, they said, the first speaker stated how overseas imams cannot have reliable communication with the general public. The second speaker also stated how there are economic problems between the overseas imam and the general, and how the overseas imam are an economic burden. Because they can't, what if they're just fresh off the boat, they can't drive, they're not familiar with the American land, and then you have to provide all these like necessities for them. And the third speaker, he also said that from a political aspect, the second speaker said from a political aspect that the opposing team, that they're very scrutinized. So what if that even though they're scrutinized, the government suspects them, and the imam has to come for Ramadan? Then what if the government holds them in, and they're late for Ramadan? Who's going to lead the prayers then? And also, if you have local imams, and there are also lots of madrasas that teach local imams that are in the U.S., and if there are local imams, then that will increase community. It will be very community.
Would you ban every single overseas imam just because local imams can teach?
No, that's not what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say that local imams, if there are local imams, a lot of local imams in one masjid, and then they can share the local imams with other masajids. Then there will be communal ties, and also then they will be able to share the imams. And then, Islam will be more united. That's a good thing. And finally, I'd like to conclude by saying that there should be overseas imams. There should not be no more overseas imams, and that I think our point of view is correct.